Good evening, everyone. Root Vital. This is a cutting modalities to the tradition by the National Development Center. Today, wonderful guest, Keith of Recovery and Pearson, and here, and so
yeah, we want to make it your show.
we were talking a little bit the around Pearson and in your back. Yeah.
Sure. So my I'm a experienced psychiatric system and all the of
What does that mean?
well, it's having unique sort those out, ending multiple diagnoses over time, and believe period of time that those experiences comply with treatment to follow instructions, the multiple years.
Wasn't that the
As it turns out, not always. It doesn't always for people, and it ultimately didn't. People that I've met over the years. This isn't a judgment. How things went. Arrive. Derive any understanding. Yeah, or from a chemical in my brain. I found
that's what you were told.
that's what I was told.
Yeah.
I found almost all of the medication just couldn't take it worth
Early on.
almost from the beginning.
Yeah.
My reaction to nootropic medicine was one really couldn't of time. There were other families saying we do this, we really do this, a fair try. I feel like I did. I always ended. Doesn't work for me. Exposure, years ago, the alternatives was sort of either you do this, which has, as associated liability problems, as associated, I am in control of my life. It's fine. I have some my life in for me, so
To exercise your own decision.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely essential. Me finding a way through, having a sense of ownership of my life and feeling like I could do what I wanted, as opposed to being on a destined course that either took me and I felt a way, which was really sort of dull and disconnected. I was going to experience a lifetime of trouble. It was only get progressively time.
You were told.
That's what I believed for a short period of time. anybody, again, saying, you know what, I've done this thing, or multiple other things, and they've been successful and had satisfaction with that versus this path. And it wasn't until later I was able to connect with some people and talk with folks about what they were doing, decisions that they were making versus the ones I had been accustomed to making, that it started to occur to me that it doesn't just work for me, it works for other people as well. I also had, you know, I want
You're like that, I know, but yeah.
well, I don't know about that, but I mean, I want to be careful to not the other choices people make.
Some people make a choice
Right.
To
to
continue.
go with their diagnosis, take their medicine.
And I think at the end of the day, if it works for you and you're content more or less benefit of the path that you've chosen, then, you know, you. I mean, I think one of the things that we try, you know, in it's is to expose to as many ideas as possible, as many ideas, almost irrespective of radical. Some may feel that they are. You can't make decisions. You can't really have, you know, if you only know about one or two.
One way.
I know 15 or 20 options. You certainly have much more to try and to choose from. There's even value in the process of opening your mind up to the possibility that other things be beneficial, might be helpful to you and to others.
Peer can help that, right? In unique ways.
So that's kind of, I got as it,
The letters.
yeah. In terms of my I started at Advocates back in, I think, 1988. I was hired specifically because I had been looking, had been through the psychiatric system, who had sort of knowledge how to come out the other side, and was interested in having somebody come in a program that she was doing to share with people, to share that experience with people. So I was fortunate. I didn't know such positions existed, quite frankly. So
There weren't many of them
I
at that
wouldn't think
time.
so.
That was pretty.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Was that Diane?
no, that was a woman named Linda Plouffe, who worked for Advocates back in the 80s, and someone who actually she was brought to me and to the program. Familiarity with Pat Deegan and Pat Deegan's work and Pat Deegan's thought about this. Instrumental advocate to try to do around this called recovery. To actually a year with to help us develop some work standards for people working in the mental health division around of people's autonomy, understanding where people are coming from, and that the disability we are seeing in the people we support gets necessary from their experience. Diagnosis, it can
To superability, the diagnosis part and what led to the diagnosis can super and
Yeah.
superability
Yeah.
is.
and that the disability often results from
Treatment
get.
actually is traumatic at times.
and the believable themselves.
Yeah.
Schizophrenia get worse as it goes
Mhm.
on. Cure, long, chronic. It's, you know, the idea you should in fact able in order to, you know,
Benefits.
all of that
Yeah.
shapes how a person sees themselves.
Social Security benefits depend on it. Benefits, food stamps,
Section 8, yeah.
Health
Section 8,
insurance.
Health insurance. Yeah.
So she was really instrumental in helping me and other organizations see that a lot of what we were trying to overcome, you know, wasn't it wasn't the illness as the treatment.
Treatment.
You know, the way people view folks with diagnoses and the way those folks view themselves. It was probably fruit partnership. I learned a lot from Pat in those 10 years.
I think seeing the experience as an experience is very valuable. I started to see my came to grips with my past and with creative ups and lost, you know, sort of thing I learned. Great.
I hear that I took a conference about alternative mental health.
Mind freedom.
Mind freedom, and which you were at, and did emotional CPR. A girl came to me after your workshop, and we were talking about it and the grief that comes from the lost years they have while they're on medications, and
Often is too.
mm-hmm.
There is no evidence that this is on for a lifetime. In our pre-show, 2 weeks ago, we were talking to Whitaker about, you know, the new evidence that helping people to have getting off the medication is often very valuable. So that was your own experience too.
Yeah.
How do you do with there? Accept it.
Advocates?
Chris
I think
Gordon.
a little bit. I think it
Yes.
varies. I think
I have Chris on.
And
Right,
then-
yeah.
I think we're really fortunate to have Chris Gordon. I think he's incredible about this and has led inside the organization to pursue alternatives and to make a commitment to helping people come off medication and reduce the amount of medication. We also have Carr, also very open, willing to people where they are, particularly where they are, place where they consider coming off of. So the doctor practice traditionally, if you will. They, you know, I mean, you're
Younger doctors.
well. These are the older doctors.
The older
there.
doctors.
I don't. Sometimes psychiatrists can
It's all right.
be very, very
Set.
and
Yeah,
protective the way, because they've been for a long time and that they do it with. And I think all those things are true, but I think it's remarkable folks speaking themselves up the other ways in which to, and that some of the ways people have traditionally have not benefited people. I think
Have been working.
a tough reaction for one of the things I will give willingness to with people and feedback and have really challenging conversations about what that means for their relationship. It's really hard to have someone you have been in a treatment with for 15 or 20 years sort of comment you around what did you know, when did you know it, and you didn't tell me that, but I would gain pounds. There's a possibility that I would get diabetes. Have people sit there openly listen, give an opportunity for an individual to sort of grieve, and what's is no thing, and I give our medical staff to do that, and as you, this process of changing changing the culture, particularly in the medical, you know, that is long. I think, you know, we're sort of trudging along, which, you know, is hard.
And how do peers advocate? Yeah.
Sure. Our position is called peer specialist. Again, people with experience of the mental health system are their journey out into a life of, you know, their own design to try other people, make and doing some of the ethics that you referenced at the beginning to do with what we're doing clinical work, that is walking with people around shared experience of it's not one for one, but some it's like to be diagnosed, medicated, hospitalized, against your will. I think around connection is to keep in the people that support as possible.
That's great.
What I mean by that is a real mutuality. You that would be true mutuality. That doesn't professional role, and we're about that. We realize that that's even beyond we between us. If we were, for example, I think supporting enough than if we were to write clinical about if we were to participate in if we and money would to not do
The power difference.
right. We decided to have a centralized specialist organization.
How many about our
Thing part people, right? Well, and I think I appreciate the resource very that small group or we
Different than
if we're program change the attitude language that out there as they are. People who have this I sit on senior which is
It's unusual. Years country actually.
I think this meant was that if we're so support a group of people challenging and so especially that person's mission is it emerge in your management
Peers.
yeah
Really
absolutely
often will really with
in this thing sent form adequate decision-making bodies issues around to bring that to the, allow people from to the
clinic actually at Riverside, because meals have it say never get a there are no lunches. They said, well, they're sure of that. Well,
yeah.
it was like Pavlov, you know.
For us, all of the with that exact argument, like we get so in lunches and what we're prescribed to their that this it, the person
Yeah.
serve in some way to prescribe. Open to having those hard challenges, be a part of that because of this strategy.
Yeah.
Really, really. So to me, and then the most proud about having worked or being in the doing to work on. They're hard, challenging, but we're trying. Some places we real small, clear shifts in
There and doing a training on emotional.
we're really looking.
So I think it can give a, you know, we
Talking about it with
yes,
people.
it's really we give a language to it. So you know, arguments even. You know, well, we're doing approach here with people.
Well, and again, this sort of case with folks about mental health first aid support, worry that people on looking at me and my behavior start
Symptom.
diagnosing me after hours of calling the police, calling first responders if I'm in a difficult moment, respond to me as a human. And they said, where this may be training, is there anything else? And I have spoken about and so we're really and that as almost preemptive alternative to
why it was
mental health
designed.
first aid.
That's why we developed it.
And if we could get our culture, that idea, way of with people, and this other, still we had the large this versus that. I think.
Well, I think the communities as a whole, jobs, it's all to spread up, and maybe you all can.
Yeah,
So
we'd like to be a part of it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for us. It's been a lovely show. So
Yeah.
Thanks for
very
having
much
me.
appreciate
I
it.
appreciate it.
Well, to opportunity to get to know you.